Luke and the Mildly Dangerous Misadventure. Volume 1, My Name is Luke. Chapter 1, Luke and the Army of Mexican Rats. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Lucas H. Sucked Nuts who loved eating shit. One day, there was no more shit. Luke commits suicide. Mum screamed that her son is dead. Luke eat mum shit. "Oh my god, you're alive!" Luke nodded. He ate his mum. Mother screamed, but no sound come out. Father was sad that mum was gone. Divorce. Elon Musk ran into the house. "Luke, stop! You're breaking the law!" Luke ate Elon Musk. Twitter attacked Luke with shitty jokes that make no sense. Luke was sad. Michael Jackson rose from the grave and moonwalked on Luke. Luke tried to defeat him, but MJ was a smooth criminal. Freddie Mercury was also alive. Ned Kelly was also alive as well. They all smooth criminaled on Luke's fat ass. B-movie was suddenly a good movie, so they watched it. Luke escaped. He was suddenly stopped by a tear in the floor, where a strange man looked up, shook his head, and went back down. When Barry was Pollen Jack, the three dead people realized Luke was gone, so they searched for him. Meanwhile, in Mexico, Luke was hiding under a house. He made an army of Mexican rats. Suddenly, Michael found Luke. Freddie and Ned started attacking, but then the rats fought back. Squeak, they said. Michael died again. Freddie was sad, but then he got methocidal and died. Ned, however, had skills. He was hanged before, so he couldn't be hung again. He swallowed 5,000 liters of Dr. Pepper and got super drunk. He ate the rats. But while the fight was going on, Luke recruited more Mexican rats. The rats were drunk and swallowed Ned whole. Luke screamed in joy, and suddenly there was an earthquake. Luke ran to the Mexican border and found it was being sawed off by Donald Trump. Luke tried to stop Donald Trump, but he called in tanks. The tank pointed to Luke, then the world shook. Millions of Mexican rats came to attack Donald Trump. Luke was happy his army was doing good. Donald Trump died, and the tanks exploded. The explosion caused Mexico to be disconnected from America. Mexico started sinking, slowly. "Oh dear," said Luke. Everyone screamed as the water started breaking into homes and overflowing wells. Mexico started bending in the middle as it wasn't connected to anything. Luke tried getting out, but it was no use. Then God rose Mexico up into the air. Donald Trump woke up and saw flying Mexico. "Flying Mexicans, we're all gonna die," Trump screamed. God made Jesus alive, and Jesus flew to Luke. "Take my hand, child," said Jesus. Luke said yes, and they went to heaven. Luke didn't die, though. They went to the place that runs the world, with angels and God himself. God said, "Hello, Luke. Would you like to be God?" "Okay, sure," Luke said. Luke became God, and God retired. Luke decided the first thing he would do was kill Earth. Earth was set on fire. Luke laughed evilly. Luke then woke up from his dream. He was still in Mexico with his rat army. Michael Jackson and the others were alive. Luke had to do what he did in the dream. But however, it didn't work this time, as they had 3 handguns each and the rats were small. All the rats died from the bullets. Luke was very sad, then chugged 3 liters of whiskey. Luke fell into a drunken rage and threw the bottles at the 3 people, then they died. Luke laughed, then passed out. Luke woke up the next day and was in a factory. "Where am I?" asked Luke. He was on a conveyor belt that was being moved into a crusher. Luke tried running, but he had no legs. He used his arms to move himself off the conveyor belt. Luke realized he was in a meat factory for McDonald's. He didn't know the secret ingredient in the Thick Mac was people. Luke saw Michael Jackson's body at a Demogorgon. Luke looked at the Demogorgon. It made a whining sound. Suddenly, it raised its large hands and grabbed Luke. Luke was so scared. The floor caved in as the Demogorgon and Luke fell into a strange portal. They were in the Upside Down. Demogorgon dropped Luke because Luke was playing dead. Demogorgon ran away. Luke saw a strange boy with a bowl haircut in vines. He tried to save him by getting the vines off him. "Oh my god, Mom, is that you?" the boy said. "No, my name is Luke," Luke said, but the boy kept saying his mother and a police chief saved him. Luke took the boy back up through the portal and back into the meat factory. He asked the boy who he was, and he said he was Will. Luke asked who his mother is, and soon he knew everything about Will. Luke took Will to a hospital as Will passed out. Will's mum and his brother and his friends were there to see him alive, and Luke had left. Luke was sitting at KFC next to this hospital, eating popcorn chicken with his new army of Mexican rats, the total being 32. Everyone had fled the place, and Luke was eating chicken alone. He had stolen so much chicken. Suddenly, a strange person entered the building. Luke couldn't see, but he was wearing some glasses and a nice haircut. "Hello, Luke," said the man. Luke waved and ate the chicken he stole. The man revealed himself. It was Colonel Sanders. Sanders took the chicken away from Luke and the rats. The rats got angry and tried to kill Sanders, but failed. Sanders killed all of them except for one, which was sleeping in Luke's pocket. Luke jumped out the window. Realizing he had one last rat in his pocket, he took it out and named it Luke and Jeremy, the two best things ever. 2 months later, Luke was on the FBI most wanted list for several crimes against America, even the assassination of Donald Trump. Luke was confused because he pretty sure that was a dream, but whatever. Luke was hiding in his parents' old house, the same place where he ate them 2 months ago. Jeremy was also there, and he had learned how to play Minecraft. Luke was playing Minecraft Hunger Games with Jeremy, but Jeremy kept winning. Luke was so proud that the server became abandoned because of a rat. What? How would they know it was a rat if it's a Minecraft? Sorry. Suddenly, there was a loud shake in the house. It was being lifted by a crane. Luke and Jeremy were so scared, but luckily it stopped. Then it started moving forward, towards a military base. Everyone was there, even the new president, Kanye West. Luke looked out the window and as the house was lowered onto the ground. "Open fire!" shouted Kanye. Bullets sprayed everywhere. Miniguns, shotguns, pistols, revolvers, all shot so many bullets at the house. Luke ran into the bathroom, and the front door was blasted wide open. Heavy weapons guy entered the house, his Russian muscle building as he walked across the floorboards. Luke locked the door, and Heavy heard it. He ran towards a bathroom, destroying the floorboards as he went. Heavy blasted open the bathroom door, and Luke screamed. Heavy unleashed his minigun, except it was a water gun. "What the hell?" said Heavy. Jeremy had switched guns and had the minigun. Jeremy shot Heavy and Heavy died. Luke smiled. That's great and all, but how are we gonna kill the rest? Wait, sorry, I misread that. That's great and all, but how are we gonna kill the rest? Luke asked and Jeremy shrugged. Jeremy also understood English and could say a few words too. "I know, what does the H stand for?" Jeremy squeaked. Suddenly, everyone ran into the house and shot everything up. Windows shattered, walls crumbled, all sorts of stuff fell to the ground. Luke locked the bathroom door again, however, the lock was broken because of Heavy. Luke wanted to escape, but didn't want to be noticed by everyone. Luke saw a bathroom window that led into outside. Luke ran out and ran to the crane. He knocked out the crane driver and pressed some levers. The house turned sideways, making everyone inside fall out the shattered windows. Some started bleeding. Luke drove the house to Mexico and saw his old army of rats he had left behind. Luke dropped the house onto a refugee tent and went inside, letting all the rats in. Luke was finally happy that he had his army, and especially Jeremy. The other rats were jealous of Jeremy, though, so they were going to kill him. 2 weeks later, a brown rat ran into Jeremy's room and murdered him. Then he made it look like suicide. The next day, Luke was sad that Jeremy was dead. He started his own murder mystery show. It was called Luke and the Army of Mexican Rats. Later that evening, the show got BBC approved and was shown on air. Luke was so happy until it revealed that his house inside of Mexico and that it was Luke. Suddenly, a policeman went through the shattered windows. He stepped through floorboard cracks and the blood of fallen police. He cocked his gun. "Stop right there, Luke," he shouted. Luke was so scared, so he threw the TV at him. The officer died. Luke had an idea, so he stole the police officer's clothes and learned his name. It was George McPedo. Chapter 2. George McPedo. Luke, disguised as George, went to the police station. The chief was furious. "George, why did you authorize payments to the Walker policy? You're fired!" the chief shouted. Luke went to George's car and tried to find his address, which was 64352552545 Bitch Street, California. Luke drove there and sat in George's lonely house, which was Luke's house now. Luke took off George's uniform and sat at the dining room table. Suddenly, the table was a smash into a billion wooden pieces. The floor started glitching out and spazzing. Luke was so scared right now. Then, the floor turned to metal. The walls closed in and turned to metal. The table had a handcuff holder raised up, and Luke was cuffed to it. George entered the room. "Welcome to the interrogation room," George said. Luke was shocked. "You're alive? I thought I threw a TV at you," Luke said, and George laughed. "That never happened. I gave you sleepy gas before I even entered your house. By the way, you need to renovate it really badly," he spoke. Luke was furious and did a whistle. The windows shattered, and a ton of rats entered the room. They started attacking George, and some even tried to eat his cuffs. Eventually, George was out cold, and the cuffs were unlocked. Luke ran out. He was in the 99th precinct of the NYPD. Jake Peralta looked scared. "We got a runner!" he shouted. The rats attacked Jake, and Rosa Diaz strangled some, but failed and was out cold. Holt stepped out and saw the rat invasion. Everyone who was alive cocked their guns, even Scully and Hitchcock. They all shot the rats. Luke escaped out the elevator, leaving his rats behind. Luke would probably never see them again, except for one. Luke carefully took out Jeremy's dead body. Luke was sad about his death, and suddenly realized the dark truth. Then just like that, Luke was happy that the rats were gone. Luke put Jeremy back in his pocket and hijacked a car, then drove himself back home in Mexico. As Luke pulled in, he realized his house was surrounded. Some walls had caved in due to gunshots. John Cena left the house. "Luke's not home." The police team sighed as they drove off. Luke went back into his house to examine the damage. His parents' room had caved in, and so was the laundry. Luke didn't really care about those rooms. Luke hadn't changed out of the clothes he was wearing since last year, except for his pants. Luke remembered the time he ate shit. He was a simple boy, loved watching the footy and his parents. He would do anything to taste the sweet taste of shit once again. When he ate shit, he didn't eat his parents, rub fast food chains, and have dreams about killing Donald Trump that somehow happened in real life. He wouldn't attack everyone with rats, be arrested, or create murder mystery shows about animal deaths. Everything was so much simpler back then. Now he's #1 on the FBI's most wanted list. Luke wanted all of this to end. Suddenly, Luke's train of thought was interrupted with a text message from the BBC. It had said he had earned 452,853,728,985,723 from his show. Luke checked his bank account, and sure enough, he had that number. Luke was now the richest criminal in the world. Luke knew what the first thing he was going to do was the evilest thing ever. 2 years later, a giant hall filled with 732 million people was sitting patiently. Suddenly, a voice came over the loudspeaker. "Please rise for President Luke the Badass." Everyone all stood up and listened to Luke's speech. "Hello, slaves. Today I feel like I want a gold statue of my old house. A picture has been given to you this morning, so you better not throw it away. A picture has been given to you this morning, so you better not throw it out. Oh, by the way, all of you make 12 each. Then walk across 2 million gallons of molten lava to give it to me, or I'll execute you," Luke announced. The screen turned off and everyone got ready to carve some gold. However, one of the millions of people was named Maverick, and he had a plan to take down Luke for good. Maverick escaped the carving and tried to find the blue house. Maverick finally found it, and entered through the door and saw Donald Trump's skeleton hung up on the wall. Maverick then found Luke's office. Luke was playing solitaire on his Xbox 5232. Maverick revved his lightsaber he found in Luke's cupboard and destroyed Luke's Xbox. Luke stood up. "What the fuck?" Luke shouted. Maverick stabbed Luke's heart with the saber. Luke stared at the saber, then fell to his knees. Maverick smiled. Luke took the saber out of his chest and tried to hit Maverick, but missed. Luke stood up with a giant hole in his chest. Luke threw the saber out of the window, hitting Colonel Sanders. Sanders just lost control of his body. "Oh God, I hope I don't turn into a shitty Breaking Bad reference," Colonel muttered to himself. Maverick took out a wrench, and Luke took out a gold statue of himself that Maverick had made 6 weeks ago. Luke was slowly dying, though he should already be dead. Maverick whacked the statue with a wrench, and the statue fell out of Luke's hand. Luke grabbed the wrench with a deadly grip. Releasing an electricity shock, Maverick jumped back, screaming in pain as his entire body had been shocked with electricity. Maverick still stood, surprisingly. Luke lost control of his left hand due to losing his life. Luke grabbed a filing cabinet with his right hand. He was super strong due to lifting statues every day. He threw it towards Maverick, and Maverick was hit by a giant metal box, making him break his left leg. Unable to stand, Maverick threw everything he could reach at Luke while in extreme pain. Luke's legs were suddenly unable to move, then Luke fell. The two were just throwing stuff at each other until Luke's right arm lost connection to his brain. Luke was 70% close to dying for good, but Maverick had bandaged himself with Luke's super bandages and has healed instant. Luke stared at the super bandages with weak eyes. "Please, give them. I'm sorry. Can we please make up?" Luke asked, his voice weak. Maverick looked at Luke on the ground. "No," Maverick said, then left the room. Luke lay there, finally passing. As the world slowly restored to its glory, his army of diverse country rats noticed no sign of Luke. Luke was soon buried in a grave next to Jeremy's tiny grave Luke built himself out of rocks and sandpaper. There was a giant funeral planned where everyone would come and make fun of him to make up for the damage he did. The rats, however, had other plans. They would find some way to resurrect him. They would have to find his special book and summon the almighty Marasmus. The rats located Valve and snuck in at midnight. There were several stuffs, like portal guns, gravity guns, and a strange sandwich, labeled Sandwich. Eventually, they found it, a book that had a bomb on his mouth on a cover. They opened it, and suddenly a mythical creature appeared. It was Marasmus himself. The rats commanded him to revive their leader, Luke. Marasmus obeyed, and Luke was risen from the dead and had severe back pain. Luke tried to straighten himself, and eventually did, then went home. The rats were so happy that Luke was back, and they took him to his funeral. The new president was there. His name was Obama. Luke had made it a law that presidents could be presidents forever, so when Luke died, Obama could be re-elected. Everyone was there, throwing stuff at his empty casket. The casket was closed. They didn't know Luke wasn't in there. A man threw some shit. Luke stared at the shit, landing at the casket with agility and perfect aim. Luke had an idea. He ran to his 80% destroyed house and went to the living room. He took out parts of his TV, his radio, his microwave, and his sink. Luke was building an engine that he would put into his house to make his house a time machine. Luke was finally finished. He wanted to test it out, so he pressed the button and ran out. The house disappeared. Then 10 seconds later, it reappeared. The house was in the air for 2 seconds, then fell to the ground, destroying the entire thing. The roof fell in, wood crumbled, the last 2 windows smashed, and the house became a pile of rubble. Luke was sad. Then out of the blue, a DeLorean with fancy parts all over it appeared out of nowhere. 2 people came out and examined the mess. Luke snuck past and used the DeLorean to time travel. He traveled back to the start of the book. Luke was inside his house that wasn't destroyed. He looked at the fridge and saw some shit. He began to eat. He ate forever. It was 2 years later when he finished. He walked out and saw his time-traveled house had deteriorated into a small piece of wood. Luke picked it up and threw it onto the DeLorean. Luke came out of the house. "What the hell?" the listener to this audiobook said. "I thought he was outside already." Future Luke was the one who came outside. Luke looked at the listener and said, "Fuck you." Chapter 3, Dead Freight. The listener pulled out a diamond sword from Minecraft. Luke looked at the sword. The other Luke pulled out a strange Orpa hand and put on a green-painted anger. Luke looked at other Luke and decided to pull out a strange kunai and then put on an unusual Hong Kong cone and a strange assassin's attire. You take one look at Luke and other Luke and decide to enchant your sword to fire aspect, sharpness 5, and mending. Luke and other Luke look at each other and spammed binds in the chat. You run up and take a swing, and Luke goes invisible with his cloak and dagger and hides in the corner. Other Luke tries to quickscope you, but misses badly as he overestimates his skills. You swing your sword from other Luke's head to feet, slicing him in half, as side of other Luke 1 and side of other Luke 2 catch fire. Luke, still hiding in the corner, watches with a keen eye. He laughs softly as a portal appears under him. He falls through. Now, listener, where do you think he's going? Is it a Rick and Morty reference or a Portal 2 reference? No, neither. It's something original. You stare at the portal and you hear HTTP wiki.teamfortress.com/w/spy_spy_d/spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_spy_sp into the fridge. "Oh, shit!" you say as you devour the two sides. Meanwhile, Luke is in a strange room. He is no longer wearing the spy clothes. A person walks to Luke wearing a hood. He pulled it up and saw his worst nightmare. It was a woman with red hair, looking to be the same age as Luke. Her name was it's Chloe. Chloe Sanchez. Luke stared at her. She was ugly. Luke pulled out the Eyelander from TF2, and Luke pulled out the Blood Butcherer from Terraria. They fought for a bit. Nearby, Cash Withers saw and started a betting booth. Everyone placed their bets, and a lot rooted for Luke because he had a big red sword, and Chloe had a dumb sword from a 13-year-old game. Yeah, you can tell when I wrote this. Soon the day ended, and they were still fighting. They fought all the way through the month and the year, and soon it was 2031. Chloe spoke up. "Hey, Luke, we've been fighting for a long time. You want to stop? We haven't showered, and we're both missing, presumed dead." As Chloe's words made their noises, Luke stopped. They looked around. They were in the New Mexican desert. "Where are we?" Luke asked. Chloe made a realization. "We're in Albuquerque." The two were interrupted by a giant train noise. Chloe and Luke rushed over and looked above a mountain. There was a railway on a bridge, and right near it was a road and a broken-down truck. "Oh no, that guy's broken down and there's a train coming. Quick, find a ute that can push it off the tracks," Chloe said to Luke. Luke nodded and ran. Chloe ran as well, not to find a ute, but to find a dirt bike and a helmet. She wanted to ride around a bit. The guy who played Frank Murphy in F is for Family got out the truck and yelled at the train for it to stop. It did. The two people on board got out and tried to fix the truck engine, but with no luck. A couple minutes later, Luke and a ute came over and helped the guy off the railway tracks, and then helped Frank Murphy onto his ute and drove him into town. Meanwhile, the train guys drove off with their train. Chloe was zip-zap zooming around and saw a bunch of guys celebrating as the train drove off. She was on a dirt bike. Then Todd shot her. Chloe was dead. Just kidding, she was just unconscious. The team picked her up and disintegrated her into red sludge, along with the bike. Walt threw the barrel of Chloe, and it tumbled down many hills. It ran right in the middle of a fenced area. It rolled a bit, and eventually stopped when it hit a little shack. The shack opens its doors, and the Chloe barrel rolled in. It was a giant hole down. As the barrel fell, it landed on a robot. "Ew," said the robot. "What the fuck is this red barrel?" she asked. She scanned it. "Oh my god. It's a human," but, it was GLaDOS. She did some magic robot shit, and soon, Chloe's life force was inside a robot. The robot looked white, like a white metal peanut with black arms and legs, and a giant purple-colored eye in the middle, because that was Chloe's favorite color. "Oh, sick, I'm a robot now," she said. GLaDOS piped up. "No, it's not sick. Do testing, you fucker," she spoke. The floor opened and Chloe Bot fell. She landed in a test chamber. It was the one where you have to place the cube on one button and another on a second button. It was in both games. Chloe Bot did the test. "Okay, you're better than I thought," Gladickhead said. Gladouchebag put Chloe Bot into a new test chamber that was bigger than the moon. "Ha ha 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 ha," Gladopolis said. You can tell Chloe was running out of insults that start with D. "Screw this, I'm going home," Chloe Bot said. She pressed a button on her and a green portal opened. What the fuck do you want, Chloe? I'm trying to get these fucking alien pieces of shits into my spaceship so I can get free blowjobs whenever I want," Rick Sanchez said. Chloe flipped off Gladipshit as he ran into the portal. "Ah, I'm finally home," Chloe Bot said. She patted her cat and sat at her computer. She started it up. Sorry, I can't get over the fucking Rick Sanchez bit. "I can get free blowjobs whenever I want." Anyway, she sat at her computer, she started it up. She played Team Fortress 2 for about 2 weeks because robots don't sleep. She just needed to keep herself plugged in. Soon she got bored. Then she remembered the point of the story. Luke burst through the window. "What's up, dick? Why'd you forget about me?" Luke said. "Because not everything revolves around you," she spoke. "I'm literally in the title of this book," said Luke. "I'm aware," said Chloe. Luke pressed a secret button on Chloe's computer. Chloe was sucked into her computer. She was in TF2. "Finally, I can be Heavy TF2. She selected Heavy TF2, but Luke wasn't going to let that fly, so he went into the computer too. He played Spy. Luke kept killing Chloe, and Chloe got mad. Then she went insane, thinking everyone on her team was a spy, and everyone she killed had the dead ringer. Soon she stole the engineer's sentry and made some modifications to it. Soon it could kill spies, even when they were disguised or invisible. Luke got mad and told Chloe's team to vote kick her. Then she realized this could kill her, so she went along... What? Then he realized this could kill her in the real world, so he went along with it anyway. Chloe got kicked but didn't die. She was stuck in a computer desktop. Then she escaped and ran, was hit by a bus. Finally, the story's about me again, Luke said. He ran all the way from home to California He ran all the way from Chloe's house to California. He was home again, but then he remembered it was destroyed. He also had forgot that the house was fine because it was the house from the past. Luke rebuilt the DeLorean and time-traveled back to his old timeline. Luke was still on the FBI's most wanted list, and Obama was still president. Luke was on a motorway in the middle of nowhere, and Obama was there for some reason. Obama walked over and saw Luke. Luke was scared, but Obama started talking. "Hey, Luke, I'm not gonna arrest you," Obama said. Luke looked at him. "Why not?" "Well, it's not because I like crime, it's that I am not actually Obama," he said, and pulled off his mask. It was actually Joe Biden. Luke screamed. "Ah!" He spoke. Biden spoke up. Don't worry. As I said, I'm not gonna arrest." He was interrupted by him being run over by a bus. Except it wasn't a bus, it was a truck labeled red. Luke grabbed hold of it, and it started to drive again. He listened to this conversation inside the truck. "Yeah, we killed everybody," Scott said. "God damn it, Scott, you fucker," Miss Pauling said. Luke pulled out a gun he had back when he was president. He shot heavy at Scout and drove the truck. He did a U-turn and started driving towards somewhere else. The door behind Luke burst open and Soldier was there. He cracked Luke's nuts. "Owie!" "Maggot!" Soldier screamed. Luke and Soldier started fighting. Luke was winning, but then Soldier started winning too. The fight raged on, but they didn't realize Luke's foot was still on the gas pedal. The truck drove off a cliff. Soldier and Luke screamed as the truck slammed against multiple sharp edges of a mountain. They landed on a big ship. Luke and Soldier were badly injured, but they stood up. "Where are we?" Soldier asked. "I don't know. I think we're on a blue spaceship thingy," Luke said. It shook. There was a giant door in front of it. It started to open. Soldier realized what this was. "Oh no! Robots!" he shouted. Chapter 4. Laugh and Cry. "Robots? What?" Luke said. Then a grappling hook landed. The robots were going onto the roof of the ship where Soldier and Luke were. They both screamed, but they had guns and shot them. There were a lot of robots, so it took a lot of effort. But when things were tough, there was a whiz in the sky, and it was Scout. He shot all the robots and then stopped. "Lol, easy," he said. "Son, go back to Canada," Soldier said. Luke saw Scout, and Scout saw Luke. "You killed me!" Scout shouted. Luke ran, but Scout was fast. Luke killed Scout and spawn camped him. Scout could not catch a break with Luke. Suddenly, a giant drill came from the ground, and Scout died. Luke looked at the drill. A hatch opened, and a man came out. "Whoops," he said. "Oh, holy shit, you just saved my life," Luke said. The man smiled. "No problem, man. My name's Jared." When Jared closed his mouth, Luke had a realization. Jared was the name of his dad. He wasn't dead. But then Luke realized he didn't have that scar on his right arse cheek, so it was obviously before he was even born. "Since when do you have a drill?" Luke asked. Jared obliviously explained everything. "I was born in 1984 as a beetle. I roamed the lands eating leaves. One day there was no more leaves. I ate my mom and dad, and some wizard named Meteorimus came and made me a human. I found this hooker on the side of the road, and I fucked her ass, but it turns out she was deformed, and her ass and her pussy were swapped. And then my son was born. Then I bought a drill with money I could have used to support my family. The end," Luke said. Jared said, but Luke was gone. "Darn," Jared said. Luke was running to where his house was, to try and find baby Luke, because he actually heard that story. Big reveal. He arrived at 69 Gay Street, where he knocked on the door. A woman answered. "Hello, may I help you?" she asked. "Can I see your baby?" Luke asked. The woman slammed the door in disgust. Luke decided to climb in through the door as he ran to the room. "Holy shit, it's me," he said, looking over baby Luke. Then he ran out the bathroom window carrying baby Luke. Luke, "I must raise this baby better," he said in determination. He hotwired a car, which happened to be a Dodge Challenger, the one from that movie called Nobody, as he drove off. His mum ordered the guy named Yulian to take him down. Yulian and his gang of Russians followed the car and did some wacky shit. Luke did a sharp turn into this welding company where his friend Hutch was there. He sniped everyone and Luke pulled out a huge machine gun and shot everyone. Hutch ran out. "What the fuck is happening?" Hutch said. "We're killing Russians," Luke said. Hutch grabbed a gun and joined in. So did his half-brother and his dad, the guy from Back to the Future. Suddenly, everything blew up, for no reason. It just did. Everything and everyone was dead. But that wasn't the end yet, because some aliens far away reverted the explosion. Luke, Hutch, and Doc, and Hutch's half-brother looked around. "What the fuck happened?" "What the fuck happened?" Doc asked. I don't know, Hutch said. A car lifted into the air and fell to the ground. It was Yulian. He walked over and strangled Luke. Hutch tried to shoot him, but he was out of ammo. Luke dropped to the ground. "Where is the baby, bitch?" Yulian asked. "Fuck you," said Luke. Yulian shot him in the leg. Luke screamed as Yulian shot him more. "Where is the baby?" Yulian yelled. Luke tried to speak, but he couldn't. He wondered where Hutch and the other guys were. They were hallucinations. Luke was scared, but then he pulled out the gun he used to kill Scout and shot Yulian right in the head. Yulian dropped to the ground, and Luke lay there like the end of Breaking Bad. Then a Baby Blue started playing. The camera started lifting as Luke died. Just kidding, he woke up in a hospital. Dr. Hotman from Family Guy walked in and said, "Okay, so there's good news and bad news." Luke looked at him. "What's the bad news?" he asked wearily. "The bad news is that you have ligma," Dr. Hotman said. "What's ligma?" "It's a disease where your legs suck on these and your arms cantus. And worst of all, your brain updogs, which causes your spine to Wendy's." "What's the good news?" "The good news is that we managed to save your balls from exploding. However, your dick is dead." "What?" Luke screamed. Peter Griffin walked in. "Hey, has anybody seen my "Oh my god, am I interrupting anything?" Peter said. "Yeah, I'm telling this guy he has ligma," Dr. Hotman said. "This is worse than the time I stuck my dick in Quagmire," Peter said. We flashed back to like 10 minutes ago. "Oh, sweet and ash," Peter said as he stuck his dick in it. Quagmire yelled in pain. "What the hell, Peter?" Quagmire yelled. "Anyway, I'm going now," Peter said as he left the hospital room. "What?" Luke asked. "Oh, he's here all the time. You get used to it," Hotman said. As Luke got out of there, he wondered where he was. He must have drove so far out that he was in another town called Quahog. He looked for somewhere to go. He saw a bar called the Drunken Clam or whatever it's called. Luke was like 13, but whatever. He walked in and sat in the booth and drank some Dr. Pepper. These guys walked in. "What the hell, man? This is our booth," Joe said. Peter turned to Joe. Don't worry, he's with me. I met him at the hospital," Peter said. They all sat down with Luke. "This is amazing, sitting with the guys. You know, Family Guy was my favorite show when I was younger," Luke said. "Show? What do you mean?" Cleveland said. Luke looked at him. "You guys aren't know? You guys aren't real. You're just a TV show," he spoke. The guys all looked at each other. "You mean we're not real?" Quagmire asked. There was a long moment of silence. "Awesome!" Quagmire screamed. They all cheered. "We can do whatever... We can do whatever we want. We're not... I can't do Cleveland." They all ran outside except for Luke, who was just sitting there. There were loud explosion sounds outside. Luke ran out the back door, unwilling to face the consequences of what he just caused. After running for 2 hours, he stopped to get a drink. He chugged his Dr. Pepper glass he had from the Drunken Clam. Dr. Pepper," he said. He sat there, drinking his Dr. Pepper and wondering what next. Has this horrible adventure gone on too long? Taking over the planet, time traveling, killing innocent people, literally becoming God at some point? It was time to take a break, so he sat there. About 7 seconds later, he was done with his break. He pulled out his phone and called an Uber. He murdered the Uber driver and drove to his old house, which was destroyed. At this point, it was a pile of scrap and wood bricks. "This place needs some renos," he spoke. A laugh track played. He called a repairman and he repaired the house. It looked good as new. He walked in, checking out the bathroom where he hid from TF2 Heavy. He checked his bedroom where all his stuff was, including his shit freezer. It was long gone by now, but it still made Luke smile. Then he had an idea. He had to program a keyboard to work in real life. Then he would go to the main menu and reload an old save file, steal all his old shit and go back. So he went to Griffith University and studied engineering. For 18 long years, he racked up 75,762 PhDs in science and building stuff. Then he made the keyboard and pressed escape, save, and then returned to main menu. Holy shit, Luke said, remarking at the main menu for real life. It was a picture of some random place on Earth. Then he saw the options button. He promised he'd never play God again, but that was so long ago. He clicked it. There were millions of options for everything he could change. He could modify time. He decided to make Hitler never exist. He then went back to his time, but he couldn't. Luke was confused. Then he made a realization. If Hitler never existed, then Luke wouldn't exist. But how? It was because Luke was Hitler's grandfather. Luke stood there, processing this information. No wonder Luke was so evil. He got these genes from his granddad, who was literally Hitler. And when I say genes, I don't mean genes as in, like, biological genes. I meant his jeans he was wearing right now belonged to Hitler. It was the biggest reveal ever. Luke took off his pants, revealing his Jurassic Park underwear, and looked at them. He hadn't taken off these jeans in his entire life. He saw a swastika marked on the side of it. No wonder so many people looked at him with a disgusted look, and at least one looked at him with a look of approval. He never wanted to wear these jeans again, but of course he just couldn't walk around with no pants on. He turned Hitler back on, and modified time to make Luke have a backpack with another pair of pants in it. He unzipped his backpack and put on his new pants. "It's amazing," he spoke. He put them back on and went back to Tuesday, October 15th, 2019, where he was born. He then saw Luke eating shit, except he was named Boy. His mum calmed down. "Hey Luke, there's no more shit," she said. Luke looked at her, commit suicide, and came back and ate her. Chapter 5. Luke literally meets Jesus. Luke knew there was a secret extra stash in the basement that his mum was hiding as a surprise. Luke felt bad. She was trying to surprise him, but he ate her. Luke went into the basement and took all the shit. Then he traveled back to the present. He looked at all the shit with a look. He didn't feel like eating shit today. He felt bad about everything he did, and it all started because his mom wanted to surprise him with 10 kilograms of shit she bought from some crackheads. Luke sat down at the world main menu, next to his Hitler pants. "Jesus," he said to himself. "Who the fuck? Oh, hey, Luke." Luke turned around. It was Jesus. "Hey, Jesus, how are you?" "Pretty good. Long time no see. Are you still looking after Earth?" "No, I thought that was a dream." "Oh, then who's looking after everything?" "I don't know, maybe one of the imposters?" "Apostles," Jesus said. They sat there for a moment and looked at each other. "Judas!" they said in unison. They ran to the central universe control board and saw Judas in charge of everything. "Stop!" Luke screamed. He pulled out a gun and shot Judas. "Me, Luke," Jesus said. "What? He betrayed you anyway, I think. I never read the Bible. It was too long," Luke said. Jesus glared at him. Then they looked over Judas's dead body. They dragged him by the arms and threw him into the furnace. They cleaned their hands and sat at the control board. "So what does this button do?" Luke asked. "It makes this guy named Jordan Peter, who lives in Russia, move his hand to the left," Jesus said. Luke pressed it. Jordan moved his hand to the left, which pressed a button that burned everything in a furnace. "Shit, stupid muscle spasms, there were cleaners in there," he yelled. "Cool," Luke said. "You know, you're very sinful," Jesus said. "Says you. You literally cause innocent people to die every day." Jesus looked at him, then looked at the control panel. "You're right, man, but I must do it. Overpopulation and that. We don't have a choice," he said, frowning. "Here, I'll show you. If I stop death right now, the world population will reach 10 billion in a matter of minutes." "I literally have... what?" "I hate to say it, but I made you kill your parents for a reason. If they lived, they would have gone in to make a company which would crash the economy, then literally crash down onto the ground, killing thousands. After that, you would be forever known as the kid who survived a tower crashing. The fame would get to your head, and you would abandon everything you care about. Then, one day, you would crash your Ferrari into an orphanage, and everyone would hate you, and everything you abandoned wouldn't come back to you. You would go and jump into a volcano, which would cause it to erupt all over Kentucky. After that, KFC would go out of business, which caused several people all over the world to go feral. The world would become a wasteland. Then it would snap in half because of all that Kentucky lava falling into the ground. The Earth's core would come out and ram into the other planets, causing literally everything to be destroyed forever," Jesus explained. "Holy fuck," Luke said. They sat there in silence, watching the control guy as some guy in Germany fed his dogs. "Do German shepherds actually come from Germany?" Luke asked. "Nah, they came from Portland." Luke decided to go back home. He went back to his house with his shit in his Hitler pants. He hung them up on a coat hanger and laid on his bed he had just bought from IKEA. He forgot to set it up and was just sleeping on a box. Then he woke up the next day feeling refreshed. He had not had a good sleep since that night he killed his parents. The Mexican desert wasn't that bad either. As he was thinking about Mexico, he thought about his rat Jeremy. Why did his rats have to kill him? It was so dumb. "Hey Luke, I'm alive still," Chloe said. "Oh shit, is the story not going to be about me anymore?" Luke asked. "No, I'll write about you," she spoke. Chloe opened Luke's blinds to let the sun in. "Is it okay if I live here? My dad kicked me out, and Fabian doesn't let me visit Cash anymore," Chloe asked. Luke smiled. "You know what? Sure. But your ass is paying rent, or else," he spoke. They shook hands. "Hey, what year is it?" Chloe asked. Luke thought for a moment. "Well, we fought for 20 years, and then I went to uni for 18 years, and also I was president for 3 years in 2019, so I'd say 2060? That makes me 53, Chloe said. Suddenly, the author walked in and cleared her throat. Actually, it's the 1st of January 2040. I just did the math in a Google document." "Make it so the year is 2021 so it makes sense," Luke said. The author made everything stay the same, except it was 2021 instead of 2026. 2060, I mean. "Did you know I'm going to be 2 in October?" Chloe said. Luke gulped. "Oh god, we're the same age, aren't we? That means I was 0 in Mexico. There were a lot of Mexican hookers that are going to go to prison for unrelated reasons because I'm a virgin." The next day, Luke had all her stuff in Luke's house. She got a job as a pilot, and Luke worked as a gaming YouTuber. Luke was making a video of the new Resident Evil game with a tall woman. Chloe was driving a plane from California to Kentucky. She stepped outside the cockpit for a second to stretch her legs when she stumbled out the exit door and out into the sky. She was falling through the air, wind and regret flow through her hair. All she could do right now was stare down at the ocean. Her phone started ringing as she picked it up. It was the angel of death, and he asked, "What's up?" She said, "What is it this time?" And he said, "Well, hello, goodbye, I'll see you in hell." He can be like that sometimes. He's such a nut. So she snickered and said, "I'd love to, but gravity's falling. I've got some falling to do." She's in a state of shock, but it's something new. I guess it all depends on your point of view. It's true. After the song ended, Chloe landed in the water. "Shit, I'm gonna drown," she called out. She looked around, and alas, there was a rock wall. Wait, did I seriously reference the time I almost died in real life? Are you kidding me? When did I write this? She swam up to the rock wall and climbed up it. She saw 2 people on it. "Excuse me, where am I?" she asked. The men looked at her and then each other. "¿Qué?" They spoke. "¿Dónde diablos estoy?" Chloe asked. "Ella me podría percibir?" The first man said. "Soy adicta a la cocaína." I don't actually know how to speak Spanish. "Gracias, tonta," Chloe said, before walking along the rock wall. She walked for about 20 days before finding civilization. That says 2 days, but 20 days is funnier. She was in Mexico. Oh my god. After the events of what Luke did, the whole place was just a complete mess. There was no sugarcoating it. The towns were destroyed and on fire. And what was in the town center? A golden statue of Luke. "What the fuck?" she said to herself. Meanwhile, at Luke's house, Luke was playing Minecraft. "Sapnap, what are you doing? Kill Dream!" Luke shouted. He got a call, but he put his phone on silent. "God damn it!" he screamed before noticing his ringing phone. "Just a sec, guys, my roommate's calling me," he said before answering the phone. "What's up?" he spoke. Chloe spoke for a bit. "Okay, I'll come get you," Luke said. "Sorry, everybody, but I gotta pick up my roommate from Mexico," he said before pressing a button. The house started morphing itself into a helicopter. He started flying to Mexico. He saw the horrible state that it was in, then the statue of him. He landed in a helicopter, and Chloe got on it. "They really liked me, huh?" he spoke. Chloe nodded. As they flew back to California, Chloe started asking questions. "So, do you know why they built a big-ass statue of you?" Chloe asked. Luke hesitated but answered. "I have a dark past." He flashed back to the time that he was the president of the entire world and enslaved everybody, when he was President Luke the Badass. Chapter 6. Obamacare No More. Luke looked at Chloe, who was looking at him with an insane look. They sat in silence for the rest of the trip. That night, Chloe slept in her bed and was woken by a noise. She walked up and saw Chloe. Chloe walked out of her room and saw Luke microwaving stuff. I don't know how to read. It's 3 in the morning. What the fuck? She asked. Luke sat in silence. I'm microwaving Cheetos, he spoke. Chloe sighed and went back to bed. Luke pressed the button to start the microwave. As it was microwaving, Luke watched. These gotta taste so good, he said to himself. He ate them with a bunch of pepper, some jelly beans, and computer parts. He looked at his SpongeBob watch. It was 3:05 a.m. He ran to his room. The next day he woke up, played TF2 all day. At the end of the day, Chloe walked into the room. Hey Luke, what the hell is this? She said, holding up her phone. It was a news article about how Luke's statue was discovered. America must have forgotten about the slavery thing until now, and now that they remember, he was in trouble. Luke sat down on his bed with his hands to his hair. That's definitely an electric chair, he spoke. Come on, Luke, literally taking America hostage to do what you wanted and torturing them for existing? That's at least 2 weeks picking up litter, Chloe said. Luke looked at Chloe and smiled. You're right. Well, let's just hope they don't find me. There was a knock at the door. This is President Barack Obama. Open up, bitch, Obama said. Luke remembered the law where he passed where presidents could be presidents forever, and the Obama that was run over was Joe Biden. Hide, Chloe whispered. Luke ran to the basement. Chloe opened the door. President Obama, it's an honor. What can I do for you? Chloe said with a fake Texan accent. This house was the last reported sighting of the top fugitive in the world, Luke H. Suck These Nuts, Obama said. Well, golly gee, I have no idea who that guy is. This house belongs to me and nobody else. See, I got the papers to prove it, Chloe said, holding up a piece of paper. That clearly says Luke owns this house, Obama said. Luke stood there not saying a word. She stood there for a solid 10 seconds. Then she pulled out a gun and tried to shoot Obama, but missed. Obama dodged and fell to the side, pulling out his own gun. Chloe jumped up the veranda and up to the path beside it. She ran to the basement doors that were behind the house and went to it, locking it as she went. What were you thinking? Luke said. But now it's too late. Obama fired his gun. Now there's a hole in the basement door. Luke hated to show weakness in front of Luke, but sooner or later, Obama would be in the basement. That's the second Lemon Demon reference. Don't worry, in here I have a weapons closet, Luke said, running over to an old closet. He opened it, and indeed there were weapons. Not good ones, but weapons. How is a big knife going to stop Obama's AR-15? Chloe said. Wait, he has an AR-15? From the text I assumed it was just a handgun, Luke said. Chloe shook her head. The basement doors opened as Obama shot the lock. He walked inside, reloading the weapon. Luke, give up. I know you're in here, and I'm taking your girlfriend too, Obama said. We're roommates, Chloe said. My bad. That's embarrassing. Jeez, I am going to remember that forever, Obama said, laughing awkwardly. What do you want from me? Luke shouted. You enslaved America for a long time, forcing everyone, including me, to do stuff, which is extra bad because I am black. And for what? Was it funny? Was it entertaining? You have to face the consequences. Come on, Luke. The litter won't pick up itself, Obama said. Luke then quickly shot Obama in the head. He fell to the ground, lifeless. Make me, Luke said. Chloe looked at the body with a scared look. Jesus Christ, Luke, you just killed Obama, she said. Yeah, here, take a photo, Luke said, positioning himself next to the body. Luke hesitatingly took the photo. The next week, Obama was reported missing. Luke had buried the body in Hawaii, and Luke had the photo framed. He told everyone it was staged, and the body wasn't really Obama. Luke sat on the couch watching the news. Good evening, I'm blah blah blah. Welcome, our top story, Obama has been presumed dead even though the police have barely done a search. We go to Chief Randall for explanation, blah 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 on the news said. Yeah, Obama really only goes to 2 places, the Blue House and that one diner south of 6th Street. He wasn't in either of those places, so we gave up, Chief Randall said. Luke switched off the TV and went to his room. He was starting to regret killing Obama. He wasn't actually racist. Luke then remembered he had a ton of money from his TV show. So he bought a 2-story mansion. Luke jumped in joy. He bought a German Shepherd and a caracal, or however you fucking pronounce it. Caracol's that one wild cat breed with the tufts on his ears. There was a fountain which blasted Coca-Cola. He saw the door which led into Chloe's room and opened it slightly. While she was sleeping, Luke called a barber to make Luke's haircut much more feminine. She was always talking about how it could be more feminine, and Luke decided it would be a nice thing to do. The next day, Chloe woke up in her room. "Where the fuck am I?" she said to herself. She got up and looked around. All her stuff was there, and the closet had all her clothes, even her pilot uniform. She walked into the ensuite that was linked to her room. "No exhaust fans. My haircut is much better," she said to herself. Chloe looked to her computer setup, which was heavily upgraded. She walked out of her room and saw the Coke fountain. "I knew it," she spoke. She ran to what she thought was Luke's room, as it was right across from it. She opened the door. Luke was on his bed, eating Doritos and watching YouTube. "Why the hell do we have a mansion now?" she asked. "I wanted a mansion," Luke said. Chloe checked the bank account, and there was a ton of money. She sighed. The next day, she went up to Luke. "Hey, Luke, I got you something," she spoke. They walked to the garage, and Chloe opened it up. "Whoa," Luke said, running over to his car. It was a 2012 Dodge Challenger from Breaking Bad. Chloe had a 1998 new Beetle. As Luke drove off in his new car, Chloe watched. He walked back into her house. "It looks like the main lobby of Hamlin, and McGill," she spoke. She walked into her room and started playing Minecraft 1.83.2 on her new setup. They added germanium ore in this update. It was cool. 3 days later, Luke was drinking from the Coke fountain. Chloe walked out of her room. "Hey, Luke, someone elected the new president." "Oh, yeah? Who?" "Some guy named George McPedo." A chill went down Luke's spine. "Why did you say it like that?" Let me see that," Luke said. He ran up the escalator to the balcony where Chloe was and took her iPad. It was him. George McPedo, his arresting officer who passed him out and was knocked out by hundreds of rats, was now the president of the United States. Chloe and Luke sat on the couch and switched on the news. It was George, conveniently right at the beginning of the speech. "My fellow Americans, my name is George McPedo. I am your new president, and I'd like to say it's an honor to serve our country. My first priority is finding Obama's killer. That and legalizing weed. I haven't smoked since the 80s. Anyway, the prime suspect of this investigation is a boy named Luke Suckty's and his roommate Chloe. These two claim to be roommates, but it's clear that they're dating," George said. Luke switched up the TV. "That's bullshit," Luke said. "Yeah, you're not even my type," Chloe said. "You know, I don't have a crush on you, but that kind of hurts," Luke said. Suddenly, the sound of sirens could be heard. 16 police cars, 2 helicopters, 3 motorbikes, 5 monkeys that were really fast, a tank, and a limo with George himself was on the roads, on their way to the address, 69 Gay Street. "Shit, this is bad," Chloe said, panicking. "Don't worry, we can just buy our way out of this, right?" Luke said. Chloe looked down with a scared look. "I spent the rest of the money on Dr. Pepper," she said with a grimace look on her face. Luke's jaw dropped. "Shit!" Chapter 7. It's literally just eyes for like an entire page. What else do you want me to read? Luke screamed. Chloe looked at him. They ran through the mansion looking for a room that was a good hiding spot, but they were empty. "I thought I'd just make whatever I wanted in these rooms when I needed them," Luke said. "Well, what about this one? This one has a walk-in cupboard at least," she spoke. Luke closed the door and locked it and sat in the cupboard with Chloe. It was fairly big, so it wasn't too awkward. Luke pulled out his phone and logged into the cameras so they could see what was going on. The police officers and the monkeys ran in, while the limo and the tank stayed close by. The helicopters surrounded the building, keeping a close eye. The officers quickly scouted the area, searching each room. The footsteps and the voices started getting louder as they went closer to the room. "We gotta do something. They'll kick down that door easy," Luke whispered. Chloe sat there, thinking, "I guess there's no way out. This may be the last time we speak. We're both going to prison. So, any regrets?" "I regret not taking care of Jeremy better. He deserved better. I regret not actually driving that new Beetle. I just couldn't be bothered. I regret using your toothbrush to scrape dog shit off my shoe. I regret..." Wait, what? The door was kicked open. "Hey, Jim, look. This room has a cupboard and it was locked. This is the room." "I guess this is goodbye, Luke," Chloe said. Luke looked at her. I Have one last regret I should probably do before we get arrested. What is it? Chloe asked. Her heart was beating. She knew he was going to kiss her. Luke pulled out a bottle of water. I'm going to do the 1-second water chug, he said before failing it horribly. The cupboard opened. Found them, an officer said. They were both handcuffed and put into the limo with a window between them and George. Hello, Lucas. George, it's been a while. You know, in my sleepy gas dream, I stole your identity and lived your sad life. It was sad, Luke said. George chuckled. Look at me now, bitch. I'm literally the president of the United States, which basically means I'm the president of the world. Suck that, George shouted. Luke scowled angrily. George turned around. Hey, genius, this isn't the way to the Blue House, he said to the driver. The driver turned towards George. It was a robot. It looked like a white metal peanut with black arms and a giant purple eye. It looked like it had been hit by a bus. Chloe gasped. Chloe Bot? Hey, bitches, how are you? Chloe Bot said. George screamed. The limo swerved to the right onto a beach and fell into the water. Chloe Bot unlocked the back doors. Go, you two, now, she said. But you're gonna die in the water, Chloe shouted. Go! As Luke and Chloe escaped, the limo sank into the ocean. Goodbye, George McPedo, Chloe Bot said before rolling down the windows. Water rushed through, and Chloe Bot was quickly fried due to the water. George tried to swim up to the surface, but he was not fast enough. Damn you, shitty swimming instructor! Damn you! He yelled before passing out. Luke and Chloe sat on the beach talking to each other. Luke sighed. What a day. We've killed 2 presidents in like 2 days. That's like a new world record, right? He spoke. Chloe laughed. That was the end of chapter 7. Bye.